This is a family neighborhood, not some carnival. That's what Karen, my self-appointed neighborhood watch commander, hissed while I was grilling burgers at 3 p.m. on a perfectly legal Saturday. She stood right on my property line, arms crossed, staring at my Puerto Rican wife like we were somehow contaminating her precious suburb. 30 minutes later, police sirens. 2 embarrassed officers trudging up my driveway because someone reported our loud disturbance. Kids laughing and music barely audible beyond our fence. My twins went silent. My wife's face burned with shame as neighbors gawked from their porches. The smell of charcoal mixed with pure injustice. But as Karen stood there smirking at the chaos she'd created, I knew something she didn't. Something that was about to turn her perfect little world upside down. I'm Roman Donnelly, 15-year FBI veteran. My wife Elena is a pediatric nurse, Puerto Rican sunshine in human form, working night shifts, saving kids' lives. Our twins, Sophia and Miguel, just turned 8 and think daddy's the coolest because he gets to carry a badge. We'd moved to Clearwater Heights 6 months earlier for normal. The neighborhood smelled like fresh asphalt and new beginnings. Elena's garden adding notes of cilantro and basil to the suburban air. Kids' bikes cluttered driveways. Ice cream trucks played their tiny melodies. People actually waved. Then we met Delilah Hutchinson, blonde bob sharp enough to cut glass. Real estate agent smile that never reached her eyes. HOA board member who treated community rules like biblical commandments. Corner house bristling with Ring cameras aimed at everyone else's property. Lawn so unnaturally perfect it looked like green carpet samples. Her husband Bryce, quiet guy in rumpled government suits, always rushing off to some federal job with a parking pass stuck to his Honda's windshield. The barbecue confrontation was bad enough, but what happened next showed Delilah's true colors. 30 minutes after her carnival comment, sirens cut through our peaceful afternoon. 2 patrol cars pulled up, red and blue lights, painting our house like a crime scene. Officer Martinez and his partner climbed out looking embarrassed as hell. We got a noise complaint about excessive volume, Martinez said, voice carrying across yards where neighbors had emerged to watch. Sophia and Miguel stopped mid-splash in their kiddie pool, water dripping from confused faces. Elena's hospital friends still held paper plates of food, staring in shock. The humiliation hit my wife like a physical blow, cheeks flushing deep red as our barbecue became a public spectacle. I discreetly showed Martinez my badge. His expression shifted to barely concealed irritation. Federal agent. Huh, he muttered, glancing toward Delilah's house where she stood in her doorway, arms crossed, watching our family's dignity get shredded. The officers left, car doors slamming like gunshots in the thick air. My kids stood dripping and silent, not understanding why police came to their party. Elena's hands trembled as she tried to salvage the celebration. But the real punch came Monday morning. Elena pulled a certified letter from the mailbox. Inside, notice of violation in bold red letters. Grass height exceeds standards. Children's equipment improperly stored. Excessive noise complaints from multiple neighbors. $200 fine plus $25 daily until compliance. I measured everything with crime scene precision. Grass 2. 1 inches, limit 2. 5. Basketball hoop regulation distance. Bike properly stored. Every violation was pure fiction. Through the kitchen window, Delilah raised her coffee mug in a mock toast, watching us scramble with measuring tapes, satisfaction unmistakable on her face. 3 days later, the harassment campaign officially launched. Elena burst into my home office waving another certified letter. The second notice was a masterpiece of bureaucratic terrorism. Unauthorized window decorations. Sophia's hand-drawn Father's Day card with crayon hearts and Best Daddy Ever, taped to the kitchen window, apparently destroying neighborhood aesthetics. Recreational vehicles. Our kids' folded scooters leaning against the garage, now classified as motorized vehicles requiring special permits. The kicker, improper display of foreign cultural symbols. Elena's small Puerto Rican flag hanging next to our American flag was suddenly a community threat requiring immediate removal. Daily penalty $50 per violation. Total potential fine, $350 every day until we stripped away every trace of our identity. This wasn't about property maintenance. This was systematic harassment wearing a legal costume. I'd seen enough civil rights cases in my FBI career to recognize the pattern. Elena was right. The Johnsons had their RV parked on the street for 3 months. The Martinezes had a Mexican flag twice the size of ours. Mrs. Park had Korean wind chimes that rang at 6 a.m. Selective enforcement with surgical precision, hitting families who didn't match Delilah's vision of suburban perfection. The next evening, I attended my first HOA meeting in the community center's depressing conference room. Fluorescent lights buzzed overhead like dying insects. Delilah sat at the head table like a discount dictator, manila folder thick with violations spread before her. When she spotted me, her smile sharpened. "Oh, wonderful. Our newest resident is here to discuss his family's ongoing compliance issues." I stood with the calm authority of 15 years of federal investigations. "Actually, I'm here to discuss procedural violations in HOA enforcement protocols." The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees as I opened my folder. 3 days of research into bylaws, county regulations, state statutes. Violation notices require photographic documentation within 72 hours. None of mine had it. Monetary penalties must be approved by majority board vote in properly noticed meetings. No record of any vote authorizing fines against my property. Delilah's confident expression flickered. I wasn't finished. I documented selective enforcement patterns that potentially constituted housing discrimination under federal law. And then the nuclear option. According to 1998 property surveys, her own house fell outside official HOA boundaries due to a surveying error. I'd be delighted to request an official county review. Her face transformed from crimson fury to ash-gray terror in 3 seconds. "This meeting is adjourned," she snapped, gathering papers with shaking hands. As residents filed out, Mr. Park approached me quietly. "Thank you for your courage. She has been making our lives miserable for many months." Delilah's humiliation should have ended things. Any reasonable person would have backed down. But she escalated. Wednesday evening, Elena came home after a brutal 12-hour NICU shift, still smelling faintly of hospital antiseptic. Sophia and Miguel sprawled on the carpet doing homework. Then fire truck sirens shattered the street. For firefighters stormed up our driveway, gas detection equipment beeping frantically. Anonymous report of dangerous chemical storage and possible hazmat situation. Neighbors emerged, drawn by flashing red chaos. Elena stood frozen in scrubs. Any hazmat report at her residence could trigger a nursing license investigation. 20 minutes of searching revealed nothing dangerous, just standard medical transport items in her NICU bag, properly sealed, completely legitimate. As the trucks left, Captain Rodriguez pulled me aside. "This is the second emergency call from this street in 3 weeks. Different addresses, same female voice reporting dangerous activity by families who, let's say the demographics are consistent. The previous call, elderly Korean couple 2 blocks over, anonymous tip about suspicious chemical odors from their home business. Turned out to be kimchi fermentation." Elena grabbed my arm. "Marcus, if the hospital hears about hazmat reports from my address, they'll suspend me pending investigation. My license, my career, everything." That night, I researched emergency response laws. False reports crossing jurisdictional lines become federal crimes. I started documenting dispatch times, response patterns, targeted demographics. The breakthrough came when Elena's colleague called. Someone contacted HR asking about safety protocols for nurses transporting hazardous materials. They didn't identify themselves, but the call came from our home address. Delilah wasn't just filing false reports. She was actively trying to sabotage Elena's career. I installed professional security cameras. While setting them up, I noticed Bryce coming home, stressed, constantly on the phone, mentioning workplace investigations. Something about his timing felt connected. Then the nuclear option arrived on a gorgeous Saturday morning while I taught the twins to change a tire in the driveway. Mrs. Palmer ran over, pale. "Marcus, someone put a for sale sign on your lawn." Delilah's real estate company logo gleamed, but the details made my vision blur with rage. Must sell. Family forced to relocate due to safety violations. Laminated attachment listed recent hazmat responses, ongoing municipal code violations, escalating disturbance patterns. In the next 2 hours, I discovered she'd orchestrated a complete real estate fraud scheme. Our homeowner's insurance received anonymous reports about fire hazards. The county assessor got calls about safety concerns requiring devaluation. Our mortgage company was contacted about resident instability. Our home appeared on 3 major real estate websites with professional photos and a description painting us as dangerous refugees, priced below market for quick sale. 18 hours live, 37 inquiries from vulture investors. She's trying to force a panic sale. Her company profits from both ends, creating the crisis and providing the solution. Wire fraud across state lines. Each false report a separate felony punishable by up to 20 years. While investigating, I cross-referenced public employment records. Bryce worked for a federal agency, had security clearance, married to someone committing multiple federal crimes. If his background investigators discovered his wife's activity, his career would implode. Monday morning at the FBI field office, I opened my computer to review personnel files. The name that made my blood freeze. Hutchinson, Bryce A., Junior Intelligence Analyst. Security clearance review pending. The employee photo stared back, clean-shaven, nervous smile, cheap government tie. Definitely the quiet guy who scurried out of the corner house every morning. My racist neighbor's husband, working directly under my supervision for 6 months. Recent performance reviews showed declining professionalism, inappropriate comments during diversity training regarding immigrant workforce integration. But the nuclear bomb. Federal employees must report significant changes involving immediate family legal issues. Bryce's last update was 6 months ago, before Delilah's campaign began. He'd failed to disclose his wife's false reports, federal crimes, ongoing violations, career-ending security breach. Every false emergency report coincided with days Bryce accessed neighborhood patrol databases through federal systems. He'd been feeding restricted law enforcement information to his wife. Computer fraud, abuse of federal resources, violation of sworn oath, each offense 5 to 15 years. I started planning with methodical precision. Community barbecue this weekend. Maximum neighbors, maximum witnesses, maximum media coverage. When everything exploded, every previous harassment victim would see what happened when you target the wrong family. Friday night motion sensors triggered. Through security cameras, I watched Delilah creeping across our front yard at midnight, clutching a flashlight and gardening tools, tampering with professional survey stakes marking our property boundaries. Night vision footage captured her moving metal stakes 3 feet toward our line, desperately trying to hide her garden's 3-foot encroachment on city easement land. $15,000 in landscaping improvements. Technically theft of public property. Saturday morning, 3 hours before our barbecue, 2 Child Protective Services investigators appeared at our door. We received a serious report about unsafe living conditions for minor children. Elena's coffee mug exploded against the kitchen floor. Anonymous report citing dangerous chemical storage, inadequate parental supervision, inappropriate exposure to foreign cultural influences potentially harmful to American children's psychological development. The racist implications hit Elena like violence. 15 years saving children's lives, now painted as an unfit mother because of her Puerto Rican heritage. 40-minute inspection felt like armed invasion. Photographing refrigerator contents, examining bedrooms, interviewing confused children, documenting Elena's medical supplies. Through the kitchen window, I watched our community gathering disintegrate. Early arrivals saw CPS vehicles and assumed the worst. Neighbors drove away. But Bryce arrived home from FBI ethics training just as CPS cars departed. Instead of surprise, he joined Delilah for hushed conversation my cameras captured perfectly. His body language screamed foreknowledge. Timeline analysis later revealed CPS received the tip Thursday afternoon. precisely when Bryce was at FBI headquarters accessing federal databases. By afternoon, our backyard sat eerily quiet. Folding tables empty. Decorations hung like abandoned dreams. Elena fled to our bedroom, sobbing. But then neighbors began returning. Not for a party, but for solidarity. The Parks brought kimchi and quiet support. Destiny Williams arrived with her children and fierce determination. Fire Captain Rodriguez stopped by in civilian clothes. That woman went too far. Attacking children crosses every line. Sunday morning felt like the calm before a hurricane. By 11 a.m., our backyard transformed. Folding tables groaned under dishes representing 6 different cultures. Kids ran between inflatable obstacles while parents shared stories of harassment survival. Genuine laughter mixed with Spanish, Korean, and English conversations. Exactly the multicultural celebration Delilah couldn't tolerate. Law enforcement presence. Fire Captain Rodriguez, Sergeant Martinez from Police Community Relations, FBI Agent Patricia Vega from Community Outreach, local reporter Sarah Palmer with her camera crew, expecting a heartwarming unity story. At exactly noon, peak party time, Delilah stormed across our property line like an angry blonde general, flanked by 2 uncomfortable HOA board members, waving a thick folder. This ends right now. I have documentation of multiple violations, noise ordinances, and health code infractions that require immediate shutdown. Children's laughter died. Sarah Palmer's camera swiveled toward the confrontation. I asked with calm professionalism, "Ma'am, could you identify your authority to shut down this gathering?" "I'm Delilah Hutchinson, HOA board member and licensed real estate professional. These people are violating multiple community standards and probably don't even belong in this neighborhood." Her pointed look at Elena and the Korean families made the racism crystal clear. Fire Captain Rodriguez stepped forward. "Ma'am, all permits are valid. What specific violations?" Delilah's confidence flickered. "These people have been reported for chemical storage violations, child endangerment, and inappropriate cultural activities that threaten community standards. I have documentation proving they don't belong here." That's when Bryce appeared in our backyard, still wearing his FBI lanyard. Agent Vega's face showed instant recognition. FBI employee married a woman making racist accusations at federal agent's family gathering. Delilah screamed, "I'm not letting these people destroy our neighborhood values. Someone needs to enforce standards around here." She pointed at Elena. "These people probably aren't even legal residents. Someone should check their immigration status." The camera captured everything. 43 witnesses heard every word. 3 law enforcement officers documented every racist statement. I reached into my back pocket and pulled out my leather credential case. The gold FBI badge caught afternoon sunlight as I held it high. "I'm Supervisory Special Agent Roman Donnelly, Federal Bureau of Investigation, and I supervise your husband's security clearance review." The color drained from Delilah's face like someone opened a valve. Bryce made a strangled noise. "For the past month, I've been documenting a systematic harassment campaign involving multiple federal crimes: false emergency reports, insurance fraud, computer database abuse, civil rights violations." Agent Vega stepped forward. "Agent Donnelly, are you alleging a federal employee participated in civil rights violations?" Agent Hutchinson accessed restricted law enforcement databases to provide information for his wife's harassment campaign. He violated computer fraud statutes, abused federal resources, failed to report spouses' criminal activity. Sergeant Martinez pulled out his notepad. "Mrs. Hutchinson, you're under arrest for filing false emergency reports, harassment, and civil rights violations." "This is entrapment," Delilah screamed as handcuffs clicked. "You can't do this to us. We have rights." "You had rights," I said. "You forfeited them when you weaponized law enforcement against innocent families based on race and ethnicity." Fire Captain Rodriguez addressed the crowd. "Filing false emergency reports wastes taxpayer resources and endangers real victims. This case will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of federal law." I revealed the final evidence. "The property violations you've been citing. Your garden is built 3 feet on a city property. $15,000 in improvements on land you don't own, without permits, in violation of municipal codes you've been so eager to enforce against others. Mr. Park stepped forward with quiet dignity. She told us we were destroying property values, but she was stealing public land. Destiny Williams joined him. She called child services on both our families, made our children afraid to play in their own yards. Elena emerged carrying documents. She tried to destroy my nursing career with false hazmat reports. 15 years saving children's lives, and she tried to paint me as a danger to my own kids. As news vans arrived and social media exploded with footage, neighbors applauded spontaneously. Sophia and Miguel emerged from the house, no longer afraid of their own backyard. 6 months later, justice had been served with federal thoroughness. Bryce pleaded guilty to computer fraud and conspiracy, 3 years in federal prison, permanent loss of security clearance, government employment ended in disgrace. Delilah convicted on 8 federal charges: civil rights violations, conspiracy, filing false reports. 5 years in prison, $200,000 in fines, victim compensation. Her real estate license permanently revoked after investigators discovered similar tactics in 3 previous states to force minority families into panic sales. The house sat empty before foreclosure. Elena and I purchased it at auction for 60% below market value. Elena's parents moved in from Puerto Rico, transforming the former harassment headquarters into a multi-generational celebration. Our neighborhood underwent complete transformation. New HOA board voided every discriminatory fine, refunded victims. We established the Hutchinson Rule. Board members must actually live within boundaries, mandatory bias training for leadership positions. Annual Unity Barbecue became tradition, drawing families from across the metro area. Elena was promoted to head pediatric nurse after colleagues saw news coverage of her strength. She established the Delilah Hutchinson Memorial Scholarship to support nursing students from underserved communities. First recipient, a young Latina from our neighborhood. My career benefited too. Promotion to assistant special agent in charge, now teaching agents to recognize civil rights violations in suburban settings. The Hutchinson case became required study material nationwide. Property values increased after harassment ended. The Parks expanded their small business with cooking classes. Destiny Williams started a neighborhood watch focused on support rather than suspicion. Sophia and Miguel, now 9, tell friends Daddy protects people from bullies with the confidence of children who've seen justice work perfectly. The Peaceful Neighborhoods Foundation Elena and I established provides free legal assistance to families facing housing discrimination across 3 states. Annual festivals raise funds for victims while celebrating the diversity suburban terrorists can't destroy. Every neighborhood has potential Delilahs, people whose racism and need for control override basic decency. But our story proves documentation, community solidarity, and proper legal channels can deliver justice that protects everyone while healing damaged communities. Delilah thought she could terrorize a federal agent's family with racist harassment and fake emergency calls. Instead, she got 5 years in federal prison and destroyed her husband's FBI career. But here's what gets me. I didn't win because I was an FBI agent. I won because I documented everything and let Delilah destroy herself with her own crimes. Every accusation became a federal felony. Every racist HOA violation became evidence for prosecution. The real power wasn't the badge. It was patience, documentation, and understanding how systems work. While Delilah played tyrant, I built a solid federal case that obliterated her completely. Most of us aren't federal agents, but we all face HOA dictators and petty tyrants. Document everything. Know your rights. Let them hang themselves with their own illegal behavior. What's the worst abuse of small-town authority you've witnessed? Drop your neighborhood nightmare in the comments. You're not alone in fighting suburban terrorism. Remember, the best revenge is building the community they tried to destroy.